Would you encourage Kamala to try to run again?
I would not encourage her because the governor of my state is already indicating what he intends to do.
Now, Willie Brown knows more than most about the challenges of leading a big city. He served as Speaker of the California Assembly for 15 years and later Mayor of San Francisco. He joins us now. Willie Brown, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Great to have you with us. What do you make of Zoran Mamdani's victory, sweeping victory in New York?
Well, I just hope that he develops an understanding of the world of U.S.-type politics. And if he does, I think he has the talent to ultimately be as significant an elected leader in this democracy as any other.
We have heard from some in the Democratic movement who are pretty uneasy about his victory because they see Mamdani as a very left-wing socialist. Do you think that he will now be the standard bearer of the Democrats?
No, I don't think he'll, based on just his winning in New York, that he gets elevated to the leader of the Democratic operation. That's not possible. I doubt he has a complete grasp of all of the things that make up this democracy for management purposes. He is clearly a very talented person. He has managed to become the mayor of one of America's busiest and most interesting city. And I think he will do his best to make good on all the things he says. But in this democracy, you really do have to build a majority. And that majority doesn't come from your intellect, from your skill set, or anything else. It comes from your ability to persuade people to follow you. And that means 49 other states in this union, plus the one you're in, will require you to sell them on your leadership and on your ideas and your views. And he has the ability, I think, to do that.
He's clearly
he should be anointed. Yeah.
He's clearly a very talented campaigner. I mean, what lessons do you think the Democrats, who've been really struggling to work out their future direction since the last presidential defeat, what lessons do you think the Democrats should learn from his win?
Well, I don't think that the Democrats generally need to learn a lesson from just his win. I think the Democrats need to understand how to persuade the public about the things that they want to do and how they want to do them and when they want to do them. And I think the Democrats as a party will do just that.
And do you think...
He'll be included. Many of his ideas may be those that become what the Democrats use as their next program. But the Democrats have got to put their program together, and he has got to be a participant in putting that program together. He is not handed the job of coming up with the program. He can make recommendations like all of us, but the implementation of those recommendations comes from our being able to persuade a majority of the followers on the Democratic side of the aisle.
And, we saw a good night for the Democrats, didn't we? Because in Virginia, the Democrat Abigail Spanberger won the governorship, and in New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill also won there. Do you think, the Democrats can be somewhat cheered by all of this? Because, so much of U.S. politics has been so dominated by President Trump since he returned to the White House, hasn't it?
And we have been dominated by President Trump. But you also know that in California, our governor, Gavin Newsom, won a victory that has greater impact than the win in the mayorship of New York City. when he did what he did about trying to supply the Democrats in the House with the resources they need to begin to deal more successfully with Trump. He did exactly that by increasing the number potentially of Democrats in California who can win, and by giving an example for other states to follow that lead and with the same speed. So we really did have a great evening, but it included more than just social Democrats, Democratic Socialists in New York winning the mayorship.
And do you think it has been that focus on some of those very basic issues like the cost of living that helped to drive those Democratic victories?
I believe that the fact that President Trump has been so inconsistent and exploitive of everything and everybody without acknowledging that others may have different views on the issue, I think he afforded we Democrats the opportunity to offer an alternative, and that's what we presented to the public in the election of the yesterday. And I think the public bought the idea that, yes, there can be an alternative. Now we've got to make good on that.
You, of course, were a key figure in Kamala Harris's career. She was recently in the United Kingdom and suggested that, well, she just might try for another shot at getting the Democratic nomination. Clearly, we're a long way off the next presidential election. But, I mean, do you think it would really be a good idea for Kamala Harris to really try to lead the Democratic charge on the White House again?
Well, I think that what we got in New York was an alternative to the traditional Democratic type leadership, which Kamala Harris is one of the architects of over the last 8 or 9 years. I also think that what occurred in California affords for an alternative as well. So I do think that she may very well be envisioning trying to become the nominee for the next presidential election. But I'm certain that the person who did what he did in California, Governor Newsom, will be trying to become one. And I wouldn't doubt that the Democrat Socialists are going to be looking at that potential and that possibility. As of now, neither one of those three choices would necessarily be whom we would embrace as Democrats generally.
Would you encourage Kamala to try to run again?
I would not encourage her because the governor of my state is already indicating what he intends to do. He's a guy that I appointed and helped start his career almost 35 years ago. And he clearly is demonstrating some degree of success in dealing with the current president and in dealing with the Republicans. He's managed through the podcast process and the invitation extended by people on the Republican side of the aisle for him to express himself, and he seems to be marketing himself very well.
So you're backing Gavin Newsom then?
Well, at the moment, I would tell you that Mr. Newsom represents the best alternative for the Democrats today.
Clearly, there is a long way to go between now and then. Do the Democrats then, in the meantime, perhaps have to show that they're willing to work more closely with the Republicans on things like trying to resolve the government shutdown?
They have to. We Democrats have to work with the Republicans because in this democracy, you do not work just with the people of your political party affiliation, because that's not where all the talent happens to be. So we as Democrats must be open to constant, ongoing, daily dialogue. And we've got to hope that there will be Republicans capable of doing the same thing. The people who call themselves the MAGA world, the Trump world, do not evidence and great interest in working with anybody but themselves. And that's not good for us, period, as a democracy. We had Mr. President, Mr. Barack Obama, who proved that it was possible to work beyond just the Democratic Party. However, there was one that demonstrated it even better, and that was my friend, Bill Campbell. It was years and years of his doing what he did when Bill Clinton was doing the presidency. It was an even better example of how best to work with the other team.
Jenny, one of our listeners, has just got in touch, says, doesn't it feel like time America needs a new mainstream party? The Democrats really can't see what's right in front of their faces, a new American socialist movement. What would you say to that?
Well, I don't think that the Democratic Party ought to be pursuing a socialist movement. If there's an idea that the socialists have that makes sense, we Democrats could very well adopt it, but we are not handed to them, because I don't think that the socialist movement is the best avenue for this democracy that we've had working very well for several centuries.
Just finally, let me ask you, it's pretty clear that the deep divisions in American society have, if anything, got even deeper since President Trump returned to the White House. Are you concerned about that? You talked about the need for Republicans and Democrats to work together. I mean, some of the way that the campaigns have been conducted, some of the tweets that I've seen have been really quite shocking. Are you concerned at the depth of the division there is right across American society?
Well, clearly, Trump's ascendancy to the presidency has created an issue that in many cases bars some Democrats from directing and hearing from and discussing with all parties and all individuals who are elevated and elected to a position. President Trump doesn't have that attitude, and it's too bad, because this democracy works only with the attitude that we all participate, and our brain power and our recommendations ought to be submitted for benefit of a decision. And once the decision is made, we ought to move on.
Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco, a really significant figure in the Democratic movement. It's been fascinating to get your insight. Thank you so much for talking to us.